Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Mike Haspel, and Wyatt Turk from Jack Close Painting. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Hey, everybody.
Yo, how's it going?
The most professional podcast of the year coming to you guys right now.
Well, starting off with some
Podcast.
fast overgeneralizations.
Wow. Yeah. So, as we talked earlier, this is it. Last one, guys. So we're going to do just a couple of things. If you're listening to this, just know we're not going to be on the air until for 2 or 3 weeks, Rob?
7th? Is that when we said?
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
No.
Yeah, that makes sense because the first is actually a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So this is it. So we're gonna do like 2019 Long War Rewind, and we're gonna do bold predictions for 2020. We'll do the last Would You Rather of the year. Hope it doesn't suck.
Whoa, man.
That's the name of it. Hope it doesn't suck.
I got a shout out for some local folks up in Provo too. Just when we get to that.
Cool. All right. I thought of a pretty good Christmas theme. So we're going to do a Christmas movie. Would you rather?
Nice.
Would you rather have to live through the events of Die Hard 1 or Die Hard 3?
Which one's 3? The one in Brooklyn?
Yes.
It's Christmas time. They could steal City Hall.
Who? Question.
Yeah.
When you say live through, am I like just
You're
like
John
a bodega?
McClane.
Oh, I'm John McClane.
Yeah, you're John McClane.
You get gold bars, dog.
And you're not like you in the body of Bruce Willis. It's you. You are John McClane.
Okay, a follow-up question to Haspel's question. So, can it go off the rails? Like it's not preset. Like,
well, I mean,
like, and when I fight these guys, like, there's a chance like I don't win now because I'm me and I'm not a badass. And like,
well, you know the plot of Die Hard, so you have an advantage that John never had. But yeah, I mean, like, you still have to accomplish some things.
So I'm gonna pick Die Hard 1, but I feel like I would be torn because I know that Hans Gruber is a bad guy. So when he meets me on the roof, I'm just gonna plug him in the head. But then I'm killing Alan Rickman like prematurely. So I'd be torn because I'd be like, damn it, Alan Rickman's so cool.
He's supposed to last another like 20 or 30 years.
No Snape for everybody.
Okay. So is this real life though? Like,
no. It's like your reality is
the Die Hard reality.
Yeah. So it's like reality is rewritten. You're not actually killing Alan Rickman. You're killing.
Okay, but
Die Hard 1.
When I solve the movie, do I go back to my real life, or it's like this is it? Like I now live in this world forever. All this stuff.
I'd say like just I hadn't thought about that, but let's just say that like you accomplish the goal and then you're ported back to your reality.
So it's a VR video game, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, well then there's no. I mean, stakes don't seem that high. But can I die in the video game?
It's not like a video game. So, like if you walk on broken glass, like you're still gonna feel like you're walking on broken glass.
It's like a lit RPG novel. I'm transported to another world. I could die there.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. So I'm gonna have to change.
I mean,
because my fat ass is not fitting inside the ventilation shaft. So I'm not making it. So I have to pick Die Hard 3.
Pick Die Hard 3?
I have to, because I'm not going to make it in Die Hard 1.
Shit. That means I have to pick Die Hard 3 too, because I'm
just going down the shaft. I'll try to catch the little ventilation.
I mean, doesn't he have to jump off a bridge onto a moving boat?
Yes.
In Die Hard 3?
Yeah, I could do that.
And cool. I mean, like, I think Mike would have a better time in the earlier scenes of Die Hard 3, whereas Kenny would probably not have a great time.
Not have a good time.
So, I mean, there's clear like advantages and disadvantages of your character.
What exactly don't you think I can accomplish in Die Hard 3?
Oh, just going for a walk.
I mean,
I can walk places.
Mm-hmm. I mean, walking around a Harlem with a white supremacist like poncho thing on him.
Sam
Oh
Jackson
my
would
God.
save him. Like he saved.
Yeah, Zeus is still
John
Zeus is still gonna save me. So like,
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but John
But
McClane
Willie-
looks like a normal guy.
but
like
Willie-
Kenny looks like he probably really means it. So I don't know. Like that's a good. That's. I mean, it is a tough. Would you
but
rather?
you
so.
said I'm in John McClane's skin.
No. You're
It's
you.
me. Oh my God.
I said you're not Bruce Willis.
Oh,
You're you.
Wait,
No.
was Die Hard 3 the one where they robbed the Fed?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
but there's also the bombs, like the crazy
Yeah,
chemical
yeah.
bombs. They have to defuse one.
I
on,
feel
like
like
that
I'm
boat.
taking out Jeremy Irons and just taking over his plan.
Do I? Okay. Follow up question.
But you're a cop. You're John McClane.
This is my last question.
Okay.
Do I get, upon answering this to the always understanding Dijin of our,
Passionate vision.
does he give me enough time to rewatch the Die Hard series before I'm transported into this world? Or am I just instant in that world from the moment I say?
I mean, okay, so I mean, like, so have you just not seen Die Hard? Is that why you're saying this?
No, I have, but I am definitely not caught up on the I know the beginning and the end, what happens, but like I'm like, ventilation shaft? Am I I'm not gonna be able to map out.
I don't know. I feel like it might be instantaneous because if I give you the chance to rewatch the film right before you do it, that's too much of an advantage because
Yeah.
you've already seen the movies and that info is in your brain already. So
Whereas
I
like
feel like-
Haspel has the roadmap. He's like, oh wait, I can just bypass this. I won't have the roadmap. I have to literally do everything fucking Bruce Willis did.
Well, first off, you effed up by not remembering all these things because they should have been part of your growing up. Your come
They
up.
were, but I saw them on TBS. I'm missing lots of things.
Why would you do that?
I never had the DVDs. I'm missing lots of things.
DVDs?
VHSs, whatever. Fucking
I'm
laser
thinking-
discs.
I'm
Betamax.
thinking it's going to be. I think I'm going to pick Die Hard 3, and then by the end, I'm kicking it with Riggs and Murtaugh and a large pile of gold.
So you're gonna be so much better at this one than me. I'm gonna go with Rot by Vulcan and Chad. He says the third one because the wife is not in danger and the school bomb is a fake. See, that means less people will die when I inevitably fuck up. So I'm gonna go with Die Hard 3.
okay,
It'll just be me dying.
there are real bombs
Yeah.
though.
No.
There are real ones. Like yeah.
Well, he said the bomb, the school bus bomb is a fake.
Yeah, but there's more than just that one.
Yeah, there
Well, at
was.
least the kids don't die when I die like 2 hours earlier.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
If you get to that point.
I'm not gonna get to that point. That's my point. Like I'm just gonna try to
Okay.
save as many lives as I can. Like, or new idea, I just never go to work that day.
And just let everybody die? Wow, it's terrible.
I got it. Like he had a hangover the whole movie anyway.
Yep.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. That's
But I mean, like, then you're just trapped in Die Hard.
realistically,
Like
I'm not getting out of the hood. I'm not getting out of the hood. Like there's a big difference between handsome Bruce Willis walking around being forced to do what he had to do and a big, large white guy with tattoos. Like it's entirely possible Zeus does not come to my aid.
Maybe.
But I
Knowing
do.
what you know, though.
But I do know. And he was like, this guy must be an insane asylum person. Like, he's like, this dude's crazy. So I'm just to really upsell the crazy. Like,
There you go. See, now you're using
Okay.
the slight advantage
All right.
that I gave you. You're using it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
all right. Okay, Die Hard 3. I'm doing it.
Okay. Die Hard 3.
Yeah.
What about Rob?
I'm doing
You can't-
that for 3.
All Die Hard 3? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not afraid of Harlem. I've been there. It's fine.
I mean, that's the least scary part of the adventure, and it's still super fucking scary. Like, that's.
My vehicle's actually been broken down in Harlem. I had at like 3:30 in the morning. Think about that.
When you
for a
say
minute.
broken down, you mean you like just ran out of gas?
No, like my car did not start.
But you look like a nice person. Like, people don't. See, like, I grew up in South Miami. It's like, I grew up in culturally diverse places. Like, it wasn't an issue as long as you look like a nice person.
Mhm.
You look really nice.
Oh, thank you.
I look like a fucking juggalo with a GED to use Wyatt's vernacular.
It's true.
Are you saying people never ask you to get things off the top shelf at grocery stores?
People don't talk to me at grocery stores. Like they don't. Like I walk into a grocery store and everyone looks away from me.
I've seen people get really uncomfortable when Kenny walks through the door at a grocery store before.
I have also seen that. I've been grocery shopping with Kenny. It's hilarious.
Haspel's gonna have an easier time than a lot of those things.
Probably.
Yeah.
Hey, you might just, man. When I get to the Sam Jackson scene, I might just kick it with him at his pawn shop the rest of the movie.
But then stuff blows up.
Fuck. I have to morally detach myself from those people. It's an alternate reality. It's not real. It's in the genie's like mindscape. I'm not. I just.
Can't. I mean, it's a reality. Those people will die. Those are real people.
The genie. Why? Yep.
It's because you talked shit earlier.
That's why.
It's difficult for you.
Yeah, I forgot. I should have just immediately said either one, dude. Genie, whichever one you want, and I would trust you. I should have just gone with it. Fuck.
No, it's too vague.
I die.
You can't give the genie that much power over you. That's a mistake.
Yeah, seriously.
Yep.
It's when he puts you like in Times Square in front of a moving bus.
He said, I never said what point in the movie I was going to put you in on it.
Yeah.
Got him.
You just put you inside of the elevator shaft, like 50 stories above the ground, and just be like, figure it out, dog.
I'm dead. Good one.
Got him.
Christmas themed.
Everybody knows Die Hard's Christmas movies.
Yep.
All of them.
They are. So that's the last Would You Rather of the year.
Yep.
Sweet. Is it time for the last sweeping generalizations of the year and bold predictions?
Let's do it. Make predictions, Rob.
Oh, whew. So much responsibility. So I feel like I have a lot of power right now. So, what are we going to talk about? Oh, I guess the White Dwarfs comes out, the little duder. Nobody knows how much it's going to be, but it's going to be available, I think, in stores starting on the 26th, which is kind of weird because I haven't heard that they've solicited it out to stores, which means that I guess they're just going to call them on Monday and ship it. But with Christmas in the middle of the week, like I don't know how that's going to go. But I've been wrong before. So that's going to be interesting to see. And if I had to guess, last year I went back and looked at what came out the first week of January last year, and it was the White Dwarf. It was back when the White Dwarf was at the top of the month. So the first week of January is just a White Dwarf and I don't know, something else, some books or something. It didn't even matter who reads. And then the second week was Gloomspite Gets. So it was a big release for all the hype for a Gloomspite. So there's probably a bigger release in our foreseeable future, if I had to guess. Now we know that next Psychic Awakening book's coming out with Grey Knights, Dark Angels, and Thousand Sons. So I'd imagine we're going to see that book probably towards the top of the month when people are, quote, flush with cash.
Right.
And some sort of new figure. I think we said
probably Azrael.
Yeah, we kind of decided on Azrael. My personal prediction is Grey Knights are going to get some good rules, and same with Dark Angels.
They're going to end the apology tour.
Yeah,
get the boys back in town.
Oh, that's right. Haspel's going to put away the blood ravens. He's going to pull out.
Hey, did Enchanter prove? Did anyone look at the Grey Knights? They get what was their situation?
We actually forgot about Grey Knights.
I mean, I have the book, but I don't previously know what their points were. So even if I looked at it,
some points changed. That's it. Didn't affect.
So like, but basic like duders go down in points like everyone else, pretty much.
Terminators, I think, went a little bit down, but Strike Squads. Maybe I have it backwards. Strike Squad stayed the same or something like that. It was, but overall they were less points.
Mm-hmm.
But so point savings is the first step. Now, if they get some new spicy stratagems,
or doctrines of some sort.
I mean, I don't even need doctrines with them, honestly. Like it's a stratagem game, bro. Like it's doctrines are spice on top. You know what I mean? Like it's a stratagem game. That's where the heat is. The reason chaos is suddenly dope is point deduction and new stratagems. Like, and what I mean chaos space marine stuff. That's why. Like you couldn't play like Raptors or Warp Talons Haspel are a unit that has been in our codex for years that is just unplayable. It's I guess it's basically a Grey Knight unit for all intents and purposes. Like fucking Possessed, a unit in our codex that is basically Grey Knights. Like it's garbage, unplayable. But they got point reductions, like 10 to 20% in some cases. And then they got some new stuff that when applied to them makes them highly playable. So that's all Grey Knights need is a little point deduction and a couple of spicy stratagems. And we're back in business, baby.
Well, I mean, that's basically all that Blood Angels got in there. I mean, you can do some spicy stuff with Blood Angels.
Spicy shit.
Yeah. So like that's what's so great about this GW 2.0 Codex World Tour, where they're putting out these Psychic Awakening books. They're going to put enough content in there that they're going to have to reissue the codexes for the 2.0. Maybe they'll do a 9 or an 8.5 this summer and tighten up some of the rules. That's the word on the street. I don't know anything.
I mean, yeah, eventually they're going to have to do some kind of update because selling the core rulebook in Dark Imperium and on the shelf is like, there's going to be a critical mass at some point where it's not the same game.
Mm-hmm. Right now they've already added all the stratagems and such. Lots of the rule of 3.
Because I think they're trying to like justify it by basically being like, well, playing the game doesn't mean playing match play rules because match play rules is what all the fucking FAQ and errata and all that stuff goes against. So like, I don't know. I wish they would just update it more frequently and not be tied to their current system, but we all know that's not going to happen.
No doubt. Sorry, I'm hooked on great bold predictions. I saw it in chat. Grey Knights will be the most improved army of 2020.
But
that'd be dope.
Like I said, that's a very low bar.
Well, if Terminators, I mean, it is for sure. But if Terminators went down, straight at the gate, Terminators with the Bolter Beta rule and a couple spicy stratagems from Deep Strike who are reasonably pointed are incredible in the game right now. And especially with it, they've been giving us stratagems that are like very thematic lately, very good thematic stratagems. They've only made one mistake, and that was the heroic sacrifice stratagem for Salamanders. They made one terrible stratagem that was too overpowered. That's it. Everything else has been totally thematic. Look at this Blood Angel shit. They're like, hey, what's a cool, totally Blood Angel thing? Sanguinary Guard. Let's do something.
I am Hawkeye right now. I am Hawkeye. I am like, don't do that. Don't give me hope. But you're right. You're right. Because I was talking to somebody about it. I don't remember where or when, but I was talking to somebody about it. And I said, when I was playing my Blood Ravens, I didn't play a whole ton of stratagems. I just had like the top 8 that I just kept reusing. You know what I mean? But those top 8 are better than all the stratagems Grey Knights have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with Sisters. When we went over Sisters, we didn't cover every Sister stratagem. We covered like 10 of them.
That's the secret. That's the secret, Haspel. That's pretty much when we talk in our tactics discussions, we're like, every faction basically has like a top 4. It's even less than 8.
Right.
Like these 4 stratagems.
Except like Grey Knights don't have jack.
Exactly.
All their stratagems suck.
Like their stratagems are like, they do have like a couple good ones, but their good is so different than like what other people's good is now.
Yeah.
So when the new stratagems come out, and that'll be pretty much all it takes, there'll be like 4 good ones. And don't overload yourself with all of the stratagem picture. Like there's 4 that you're going to build your army around. And then and there's going to be, just remember that in the back of your mind, there might be like this one really situational stratagem. And when that situation arises, use it. But for the most part,
comes in really clutch.
Yeah. For the most part, you say, what are these, like the Sanguinary Guard shenanigans we were talking about last week? I read these, I look at them, I'm like, okay, I got to make sure my army supports those cool, powerful stratagems, or I'm just not going to play Blood Angels because that's the spice. That's the essence of Blood Angels, those kind of units. So Grey Knights are going to get something. They already have a lot of cool things. And when you drop the points down, it makes things matter more. And I can see they're predominantly shooty. Like that's the best way to play them for the most part. And they can defend themselves in close combat. And with shock attack rule, that's a huge deal. Bolter beta rule, super big deal. But they also have storm bolters everywhere, so that's just a thing.
Yeah, and they have stuff like the psychic power that lets them have no line of sight for like basically whatever weapon is on the unit.
Yeah, I predict that psychic power plus a couple new things plus Terminators or something is going to be fucking their combo. Now, they are always going to suffer from this one thing. They are Marines, but they're not Marines. They have their own book and their own flavor. They don't get to draw on the Marine flavor. So that's
especially now that Mortis Dreadnoughts are legends.
Yeah.
Like they.
But
so the thing
as Nitro Payne brought up, one of the biggest problems is, are they going to have access to enough CP? And granted, I have not played Grey Knights since they did the CP adjustment. You know, the last time I played them in 8th, it was like the base.
Yeah. Can they still use? Are like Terminator squads still troops for them?
I don't even.
Or is it
no,
only
all
the
that's
strike
gone.
squads?
I think all that's gone.
Yeah, all
so
that's
paladins and none of that can be troops.
No,
That's
paladins
so
are
dumb.
definitely not. Yeah.
See, if like anybody who's going to get those rules back, I think it should be them. I think you should be able to take like Terminator squads as troops with paladin squads being elites.
I literally like just put them up and
Terminators
I
are
literally
troops.
put
Okay,
them up.
so yeah.
I didn't even look at them. So it's, I don't even know what the army is anymore. I'd literally have to learn how to play again. With Grey Knights. So
Terminators are troops. I don't imagine it'd be that difficult to fill out some.
I'd make a brigade.
with them.
Brigades are popular now.
Brigade battalion.
Because with these sweeping point adjustments in the game, it's starting to and now that the game is advanced, Haspel to a place that's more about movement and control. Grey Knights kind of do that, and that's kind of almost their theme, right? Like, because they have like access to Rhinos and Razorbacks and Land Raiders, but like that's kind of it, right? So brigades have become the new hotness. Like even for chaos, like I'm all over brigades, and you guys have great units in every role. Like you have obviously fucking a cool.
That's a lot of stuff, though. I don't think even with the points drops, you could take
a few things you go as cheap as you can for your taxes to unlock the brigade. And that's kind of where the point savings are going, right? The point savings are being recycled into unlocking the brigade. The brigade gives you 12 CPs, so you're starting with 15.
I don't think you can do it. Now, granted, I haven't sat down with Battle Scribe since the changes and everything, but that's a lot of stuff to put into a brigade unless things have changed. I think you could do something maybe with 2 battalions.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that'd be a fun list building experiment. I'll see about maybe doing that.
It's true. I mean, you're right. With the troop choices, that might be the actual most people run into trouble with elites and they run into trouble with like fasts and heavies. You're like one of the only ones that runs into trouble with troops.
Yeah. Well, Custodies
too. Yeah,
it's true.
The Sagittarium help with that a little bit, but yeah, it's still expensive.
Yeah,
I mean, just because they're the cheapest.
Yeah, I do feel that it's not that hard to fix what's wrong with Grey Knights. So could they do it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
are they going to? I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
But that's just me.
Look, they want to sell Grey Knights. If you look at like the flowchart of what's been selling for them for 2 years, it hasn't been Grey Knights very much. So they're going to want to be pushing that product, and more so in 2019 than ever.
I mean, that's my theory about why Eldar is always so strong, is because it's consistently one of the least selling factions in all of 40K going back a long time. So they're always like hella strong to incentivize people actually playing them.
Well,
them Tau and Necrons are always the bottom 3.
Right.
But obviously also just talking about Grey Knights is that we're talking in terms of monofaction because we have Haspel.
Right.
And so obviously we're aware that you could always get CP by dip it into guard or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But the challenge is like to play the
especially
monofaction.
if they do get reworked, they're probably going to get the monofaction reward rules that other people have gotten. So you want to stick with that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like that is interesting, since I haven't built a Grey Knights list since like the first week of 8th edition. I'll see if maybe I can come up with something. That's a good like big brain thing I want to try out. I'll do that on Battlescribe.
Okay, here we go. Sweeping generalizations and bold predictions. I think we figured it out. How would you make what is the least amount of strokes necessary to make Grey Knights work?
The vinegar strokes.
Well, first things first, they have to get regular smite on their characters.
Yeah,
Very first thing.
I think that'd be okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that breaks the game. The Thousand Suns have it, but they don't.
Yeah.
So that's the easy thing. Their stratagems need rework.
Yeah.
Because
for sure.
and I kind of misspoke earlier when I said that their stratagems were bad. Their stratagems were not bad when they came out, but the game has evolved.
Yeah, by a huge amount, because I haven't seen an update since their initial book,
which was like the fall of 2017, I think.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So their stratagems are either weak sauce right now, or they're way more expensive to do the same thing that other people do.
Right.
So that needs to get fixed. I think I haven't looked at the points costs for the in the chapter approved. So I don't know if the points are where
so if strike squads are 105, I assume for 5, that's
I would imagine,
what, 645 points? 630 just to fill out your troops in a brigade. So then you have a little under 14 hundo to play with. For the other ones, you only need 3 of those each, which may not be the worst, but the Terminators are really expensive. That's really your only like good elite spot to use paladins.
Tech Marines might be elite.
Tech Marines, you said?
Yeah, don't they have tech? And they have chaplains now too, don't they?
Well, this is
but those are all HQ choices.
Yeah.
Are they?
So
that brings me to my point. So to fix Grey Knights, to make it work, you need to introduce, like most people have access to, a tax troop. And there has been precedent in the Grey Knight Codex for henchman level troop.
That's true.
So
chapter serfs.
So you need like everyone has them, like practically, right? So they need access to, like I said, the troop tax, like something that helps you unlock.
Yeah, just let them have like inquisitorial acolytes as like a troop choice.
Literally,
well, there used to be inquisitorial stormtroopers.
Yeah, I know, right?
Demon hunters.
That's what I'm saying. Is like there is a precedent. Easy. So you saying as long as you have an HQ inquisitor, you can even give them a prerequisite. Like you have to have at least one inquisitor to unlock this. Like give us an OG prerequisite, right? Give me access to a 55 point troop choice. Give me access, and that's almost all I need for the points wise, because I'll take a 105 point strike squad with those many. That I will. I mean, like I'll take it for the firepower and other things they have. And they have classic 420 points for 10 Terminators. That's pretty standard. So then I would have like one big burly unit of Terminators mixed in with a couple of units that I like. And I would lean in heavy on the fucking guys, the jumpy guys, Interceptors.
Yeah.
So I like those guys. So I think if you make a couple of tweaks there, you can run a brigade, and that's the hotness. And then stratagem wise, you need to give us we need the classic trifecta. We need a powerful shooting stratagem. We already have the one where I don't need line of sight. That's a great start. But there's more. There's definitely more things you can do than just that.
I'd say a redeploy.
A very classic.
Yep,
we need
redeploy.
warlord traits. We need warlord traits and relics attached to potentially redeploy. We need stratagems that help us with shooting, possibly boosting the AP, which they already have one. I'd like to see more out of those, or less, or more affordable.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some deep striking manipulation.
Yeah, like around the table and deep strike over.
Well, like a lot of people now are getting deep strike, like aid. They're getting deep strike aid. Like we're like,
the charge out of the deep strike, they're getting bonuses to their charge. And
I
stuff.
need to be able to at least say this one unit. I put my hopes and dream of. They drop in, they get their shots off, but I have like this, like Terminator librarian who dropped in near them, and because he has this relic of the all something, they can roll 3d6, discarding the lowest when charging. So shit like that.
Straight up, like that. I think that if anybody needs to get the very rare being able to deep strike closer than 9 inches, it should be the Grey Knights. Yeah, I've said for a long time that the Grey Knights and the Dark Angels deserve a closer than 9 inch deep strike for their Terminator peoples, because that's like going back since their inception, their huge thing is they have a lot of Terminator units that they rely on heavily. And there are other factions that have that stuff. And it's like, pay resources for it. I'm fine with that. Give them that superpower, make them pay like 2 CP so that when they deep strike, they can be like, 4 or 5, 6 inches away, something like that. And that way you also justify the over point cost of Terminators, because Terminators are like, when we really get down to it, are pretty dog shit this whole edition. Like, they're just not great anymore. Like, Terminators do not instill the fear that they used to. But if those Terminators could show up 3 inches away from you from a deep strike, yeah, they're spicy again. So I really think they should have that.
Or if those 10 Terminators have 1,000 bolter shots that have an extra AP attached, an extra 2 AP attached to them, and then they hit the charge. Like, that's what Terminators need to be doing. That's the thug life. And other people have those combos. So I want to see a Terminator wombo combo or Paladin wombo combo. I'm not even going to be mad. If, like you said, when a Paladin unit arrives via this rule, it can do this. Like, that's a lot. You've seen that classically in a lot of these new builds. Give me something fun. Give me something that's them. Paladins are them, right? So everyone's got Terminators. Fuck Terminators. I'm off the Terminators now because make it Paladins. Paladins.
Terminators.
But they're special Terminator.
Yeah. I get what you're putting down.
Like, so give me some stuff like the new Sangre Guard stuff, the new people with jump pack can do this stuff. Like, give me something Paladin keyword specific to make them the hopes and dreams of my elite choice, and give me some stratagems to support that. Give me a tax-friendly troop choice, and redo the psychic chart. Give me some good psychic powers, because they don't need to just. I want like a real defensive psychic power for them, like something almost as good as Conceal is, like stratagem wise, like, but as a psychic power, and give us the smite back, like you said. They fucked up when they said, because everyone has smite, so everyone got nerf smite. No. The characters should not have nerf smite. I should be able to, in a pinch, say my 5 characters right now just killed that tank. Like if Thousand Suns can do it, the exact rule they have should be also Grenade rule. Brotherhood of Psyker, no modifiers of smite, characters only. They said the same rule. And I think that's honestly a great start. I think like you can start building armies that work around that.
Like that would be my like wish list, is being able, like, let's keep it to Paladins, like letting Paladins deep strike closer to 9 inches, because they're expensive and they're a big beefy unit, and it's like they're kind of their A-list unit for Grey Knights is the Paladin squad, right? And I know that it doesn't necessarily fit the Grey Knight like mythos, but I would like to see them have access to the Contemptor class Dreadnought. And I mean, like, if you give them the Contemptor, you might give them the Leviathan. I don't really care about the Leviathan, but the only reason I say this is because the regular Dreadnought that could take 2 ranged weapons, like the Rifleman Dreadnought, as we've called it for years, is now Legends, so they can't take it anymore. Right. And currently, the only way you can do that is either a Relic or Mortis Contemptor Dreadnought, and I think they should have access to it. There's other than like some slight, like I know that they weren't Legion, so they probably don't have any of the Legion relics, but I mean, there's so many Contemptors floating around right now. There's probably more than was ever produced in the Heresy to begin with. So I'm just like, man, just let them have it, because like taking away their best Dreadnought chassis and all you have left is a Dread Knight, which doesn't have the same type of shooting power. Like, I'm looking at what they can take right now, and it's like they can't even take a Predator.
Nah.
So it's like, you're telling me the only way I'm going to get like some anti-vehicle shooting is with Land Raiders? Like, come on. So I think give them the Contemptor class, let them have better psychic powers, give them some spicy strats like Paladins being able to deep strike closer than 9 inches, and just those few things completely overhauls them into a top tier faction.
No, it would definitely get them off on the right foot. I mean, I think the Grandmasters are kind of popular. It's like one of the bright spots in the book currently, and Nemesis armor. So you could definitely see that happening for sure. But I'm stoked. I mean, I'd like to see some changes to the Dark Angels too. They're probably going to get some updates, just like the Blood Angels did, and be super popular. Yeah. So,
and I'm a big fan of the Dark Angels going way back. It was one of my very first armies in 40K. Like my actual, like when I was a grown person actually into 40K. Making real armies, Dark Angels was one of the first ones I made. And I know I'm not going to get it, but my ultimate wish list is they bring back the rule that if I take Belial, Deathwing becomes troops because Deathwing is my jam. I know I'm not going to get it, but I would really like Deathwing to get some love.
Well, I could see where they're going to give certain rules for Raven Guard, Deathwing, because that's their thing. Like they have different divisions.
I would like Deathwing Assault to come back.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason to not have Deathwing Assault. Like if I'm paying all these points for a pure Deathwing army, man, I should be able to deep strike on the first fucking turn. Like, come on. And again, like I said earlier, Deathwing is one of those factions I really think should be able to deep strike closer than 9 inches. Like if I'm taking some Deathwing Terminators or some Deathwing Knights, I should be able to pay like 2 CP per squad to...
that makes sense. And also, especially with like all these new units coming out that don't let you deploy reinforcements within 12, I would say like those rules bypass anything else. Right. I would say like
it's like if you brought infiltrators, like good on you. You stopped a lot of my stuff. But if you don't have infiltrators, like, man, I should be able to show up on your doorstep with some Deathwing.
Yeah. There should be. I'm with it. So, but I mean, Grey Knights is definitely gonna have 2020. Something's gonna happen for Grey Knights. It's gonna happen.
Probably Necrons too,
and Crons, and honestly, I give Crons almost the same predictions, like or the same wish list. Like we need a more taxable, a more tax friendly troop choice.
How many points is a Necron warrior right now?
Oh, I don't know.
Too many.
Too many. I'm just like super hot take. Necron warrior should be like 4 fucking points. Like
I would say
it's bones. Necrons is a horde army that can't play horde because their shit is
I would do a warrior for 8 points and I'd be happy.
Yeah, Necrons are still really fun to play. I've had a lot of fun playing Necrons. I lose every game, but I've had a lot of fun playing.
Points for a warrior? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, dude, like 11 points. No.
And you have to take 10 as a minimum squad size. They're an 8-point troop to me. That's an 8-point troop. Then you fulfill my goal of tax friendly if you make warriors 8 points.
No, I'm gonna stick to my guns. 5-point Necron warriors.
They have a gun out. You can't go
see what happens.
You have a gun that hits on 3 and a 3-up save. You can't be the same points as like cultists. Like,
well, like sometimes you just got to see what happens.
Well, we have. That's why we got so many point adjustments. That's why Plague Bears. That's why Zangors.
Well,
that's why Cultists went up, then back down.
They're not as tough. They're not as tough as Plague Bears.
The fact that, but they have a 3-up base, right? So like to regular as bolter fire,
they have a 4-up.
Oh, that's right. They have a 4-up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That sounded really weird. Like I think Immortals have a 3-up. That's what you're thinking.
Right.
Immortals have a 3-up.
Yeah, they have a 4-up armor save, which is basically a 6-up armor save.
And what do they have?
Space
Like
Marine weapons.
A rapid fire gun that hits on 3s.
Yeah.
It's basically a bolter.
They have a bolter that hits on 3s.
It's a little bit better because it has AP1.
When it hits, just stock AP1.
Yeah, they
but
have
stock. Yeah.
Practically all bolters do now because of reasons.
Yeah, and they don't have any way to increase that. I'm saying, like, I don't think it would, break the internet, make them like 5 points a warrior, and see what happens. Because, like,
I love how Jordan Stein in chat. Jordan Stein's like, don't forget reanimation. Then immediately was like, LOL, the garbage rule.
Yeah,
I forgot about animation.
Now
Reanimation protocol is 6 up Field of Pain. That's how I would do it. And then all your stratagems and abilities and auras that manipulation reanimation protocol can increase the number. So it's a 6 for like 1 CP. It can be a 5. Then maybe
you have that character that increases the roll. Cryptek, I think, is what it is.
You can't get it beyond a 4, but it's going to cost you resources. It's just a real time, feel no pain, unsaved wound roll, not a let's take stock of this unit. Oh, the unit's gone.
Yeah, pick them up and then
start at 6 up, let it be manipulated. That alone changes the game for Necrons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think Stormlord's pretty good.
Deathmarks is troop. Yeah, we got Jordan Stein in chat, which is awesome.
Deathmarks.
He's a local friend of mine.
People have been asking for that for a long time.
Yeah, I was actually shocked they weren't.
Well, the only reason I say this is because Necrons is, again, one of those factions where it's like they have a build, which has a little bit of variation, but really they have a build that makes them at all playable, and they're not like, they haven't won anything in a really long time. So I'm just saying, like, let's push out a hotfix, and if it's like too over the top, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like 5-point Necron warriors is just like crushing everything, then like dial it back in. But honestly, I don't think 5-point Necron warriors is going to, destroy the internet, destroy the meta, whatever you want to say.
It will if you can get these reanimation protocols to be fixed. I take back.
No, just keep it all the same. That's my argument. Keep it all the same.
I wouldn't know.
Give them
because
5 points.
The number one problem is that that reanimation protocol is garbage. That's the problem. Is and I disagree with someone in chat who's like, make it a 5 naturally. No, that's too much. Then you're back.
Reanimation is a 5 right now.
Right. But it's not a feel no pain. That's what I'm saying. Like,
oh yeah.
Fuck. Reanimation protocol is completely a garbage rule. It's poorly constructed and terrible. If it was literally after a model has suffered an unsaved wound on a roll of a 6, that wound is ignored, just like quote unquote feel no pain. That's army wide. Everyone has that ability, and then you're gonna have a stratagem and a character. Both of those can increase it by 1. The character does a 6-inch bubble. Units within 6 reanimation protocols increased by 1, and the stratagem is applied to a unit for 2 CPs. That unit is improved by 1. So your baddest unit, pow, 4 up feel no pain for that turn.
Right. Yeah.
That's the game. See, to me, that's the spice. So you don't fuck with the points. You give us the rules, because points are not always what's wrong. GW a lot of times gets it right. A lot of times they get it wrong. And a lot of times they're like, we're just going to make this points lower. That doesn't mean anything. I still can't play this fucking unit. It's just a cheap unit. You give me some rules that are thematic and powerful and spicy, because the spice, like the cheat codes of an army, should be on the rules and ability side, not the points, not the point cost side always. And I think Necrons, being a mono faction innately, need to have the rules be the cheat code more than anything.
Mm-hmm. I would also like to see an anti-psychic unit. I would like to see the pariahs come back. Part of the reason is
I'm with you too,
because I have a lot of pariahs and they didn't even make legends.
A little bias, yeah.
So a little biased.
I know what you're talking about, because I remember when they brought Necrons into Dawn of War, and they were so cool, and like pariahs were a really cool unit in that army. I'd like to see them too, because
it's like, and also one of the games I played, and I'm gonna get this wrong because it was Magnus, I think, who used like Super Smite, and he just deleted my army, and there was nothing I could do. Like, I can't,
because you don't have denies or anything.
Yeah, well, there's one way to get it, through like a Tomb Spider type thing, which no one will ever take,
because it's only short range too.
Yeah.
So
it was a bit frustrating to just be like, just delete my army. I can't.
Yeah, and like you should just be able to, like, a lot of your HQs should be able to just deny the witch and like make it fluffy by giving them like, it's chronotech, so it's like something. They turn back time before you actually cast the power. And then they do that like in the Knights of Macragge. They fight like a Cryptek, and he's just like, he takes like 5 bolter shots to the face, then he's just like, chronotech, and the bullets like fly back and go into their guns.
Yeah, or like the Blackstone stuff. They could. There's a million ways you could justify it, but they need to not. And the same thing goes for Tau. You can't have an entire phase of the game where you just can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, like Tau should be able to have some kind of like little technological gizmo that stops psychic powers or something. How long have they been fighting the Imperium?
You wouldn't have made it this far, like through combat by trial, if you couldn't. And I just want to address in the chat. I think about 99 Ninjas. He's like, nah, reanimation protocol is better. Everything is better in a certain situation. I'm not saying feel no pain is better in every situation. He used Las Cannon as an analogy. He's like, no, but reanimation protocol is better against Las Cannon. A Las Cannon should kill a warrior, period.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want a rule that lets you shrug off being obliterated by the Las Cannon, right? Like, that's if someone wants to shoot Las Cannons at your immortals, they should be rewarded by 4 dead fucking immortals, right? Not, you didn't kill any because I came back on my late game reanimation protocol. Simultaneously, when someone mass volleys bolters, which is what you should be shooting at warriors and stuff, I don't want them to just take out the 10 guys and now my special rule is inaccessible. That's the issue, is the longer in the chain of protocol you have to go to use an ability, the less effective it becomes. Feel no pain is an anti-mass firepower 1 damage protection. That's where I want to see it on the troops. I want to see things that do D6 damage still instantly kill a fucking warrior. But on vehicles, I'm saying the vehicles get it too. So
Well, they have quantum shielding.
no, I was just saying I don't want quantum shielding is a terrible rule. That is a garbage. It's a stupid rule.
It's kind of over the top powerful in some
well, and it's just it's a poorly worded frustration hammer rule. Like you just make like a plague burst crawler is toughness 8 with a 5 feel no pain and a 5 multiple. That is a dope fucking stat line. It's hard to get through. If they had similar profile, 6 up feel no pain, if for 1 CP it's 5 up feel no pain, and maybe they're in the bubble and that one's a 4 up feel no pain, you can basically say you can't kill this fucking DDA. That's I don't want this dumb like, oh, I rolled over you, you run under you mechanic. Fuck that. This is like a ludicrous mechanic. Like feel no pain, like which we still call it feel no pain because that's what it used to be called. It was a universal special rule. It is no years ago. To me, makes the vehicles very strong, against what they need to be strong against. Because if you have 12 wounds and you get like potentially up to a 4 feel no pain, that's really good. And against 1 and 2 wound infantry, it really helps them against mass ultrafire. So that's what I mean. Like I don't argue with you. Like, yes, OG reanimation protocol is definitely better for a warrior getting shot by a las cannon. But that's not where I want the rules to be.
But yeah, I mean, there's gonna be new stuff for the Necrons. I think they're gonna roll out a lot more stuff than they have for the Psychic Awakening stuff. I've heard a couple of things here and there. I've heard pariahs. I've heard some other stuff that I don't want to quite repeat quite yet, but it sounds exciting, very exciting if you're a Necron player. So, but that'll be later on into 2020. This one's just going to be the, Grey Knights, Dark Angels. Oh, look, I slipped and fell, and Thousand Suns. Whoops.
That meme makes me laugh every single time.
Whoops.
Every time I see it.
It's true. It's hilarious. No, but that's interesting because that was a fun little talk about 2 armies that get talked about the most as far as they need a fix for bold prediction segment. And just as like a caveat, literally we have no attachment on this podcast to like the success of a faction. Like I love Chaos and I play it. But at the end of the day, like I'm an objective game person. Like I want the game to be better above all. And GW has written tons of great rules that as when you see them applied to certain factions, you realize that all you have to do is rewrite the skin of that rule and apply it to this. And it's better because we've already seen it work here. So
it's usually worded like, like when they suffer a wound on a roll of a 6 up, that wound is not taken. So like, but give them that, but in like a little fluff header piece, be like, okay, so, on this roll, the robot is repaired by its nanotech and rises up to keep on fighting, as if it were the reanimation. But as far as a rules interaction is concerned, it's just like the model doesn't die.
Yeah. And these are rules that are time tested that you see work objectively well in a mechanic that fits into the current game structure. Every time a rule seems to be playing a different game, that's when things get weird. Like,
and that's very honestly, that's like one of my pet peeves with a lot of those rules is when I'm playing 8th edition and another faction, namely like Genestealer Cult and Eldar, are playing a different game. They're not. Yeah. They have like, oh well, and every faction has like a hey, I can ignore this particular rule of the game, but it just seems like when they go overboard on that stuff, that's when things just need it. It's like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? Like you just get to ignore all of 40K, and I still have to play by
Plus, I don't like game mechanics that bring the game to a grinding halt, and reanimation protocols is one of those things. So in a normal game against Necrons, like I shoot a bunch of stuff, they lay the models over. If they fail their armor saves, and then at like the end of the battle round, they're like, okay, I'm gonna roll my reanimations for these guys, and they roll it, and they're like, okay, well, like 3 of the 4 got up, or like 1 of the 4 got up, and they place those, and then they have to pull those models off, and they have to do that for like every single squad that lost models. Whereas if they just gave them a generic feel no pain rule with a cool skin on it for Necrons, it doesn't stop the flow of the game, but you still basically have the exact same outcome.
Objective. At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck about Necrons.
Yeah, I don't really either.
Bunch of dumb little Terminator lookalikes. Terrible
Yeah,
models.
we'll see them. They'll come back. It'll be fun.
I like the look of Necrons. I kind of like their lore.
I do
thing
like
that
the
keeps me
newer
from-
stuff. Like the
Yeah, I just don't like their warrior models. Like anything that's so old, they still have like the poopy stance.
Do you really?
I can't stand.
Do you really think they're gonna not make them bigger?
I hope they do. I hope they come out because like Necrons are supposed to be these very tall, lanky, scary alien robots, and they look like the T-800 about to take a poop, and I don't like that. It's so stupid. Like just have them stand up to their full height and look like the phalanx of these alien spindly robot skeletons. That you see in the artwork. Like their legs and arms are like way too long, and their torsos and spines are way too short, and they have this kind of like hunched thing. And they look scary in the artwork, but then you look at the model and they're just like, pooping stance. And I'm like, this is so stupid.
OG orcs. Same way.
Orcs, yeah.
God,
Yeah.
fucking
Oh my God, orcs.
Horse stance. Only thing horse stance is good for is taking.
Don't even get me started on those pot bellies, sway back, dumb motherfuckers.
God, man.
Good thing he has nothing to say. Quick,
All right.
change the subject.
All right, change the subject. Let's do it. 2019 rewind.
Rewind.
What is the thing? Each one of us has to pick a thing and then talk about that thing, and then the rest of us comment on that thing that was the dopest shit that happened in 40K. Or if 40K wasn't something
To us.
to you.
Okay.
And
Well, mine happened pretty recently,
All right,
so
go.
I guess I'll go first.
Rewinding
So
is
for
good. Yeah.
So for me, like you guys know that above all others, first among equals, I am an Ultramarines fanboy. Love my Ultramarines, love Uriel Ventress. I have a huge Ultramarines collection. So personally, for me, the new Space Marine Codex and the new Ultramarine supplement was the hypest that I've ever been about 40K for 2019. And I've talked about it before, but the main reason is for the first time in a very long time, probably like I would say for me, probably the first time ever playing Space Marines in Warhammer 40K, they actually feel the way that Space Marines should feel. I mean, like they're not Hollywood Marines, with plot armor a mile thick, right? But they feel like Space Marines because for many editions, Space Marines are just like they were kind of bland and meh, and they would die to everything. And, it just didn't feel like I was playing the Adeptus Astartes super soldiers that they are they're supposed to be, right? So getting the new rules, getting the Ultramarine supplement with all that goes on with there, like the new Tigurius model, all that kind of stuff, like that's the happiest I've been, and I'm still like really enjoying actually playing Space Marines. Whereas before, it's like, Space Marines are cool, but I'm gonna play something else just because they're so meh. And then you go back to Space Marines, and there's only certain types of builds that really work for them. And now there's like all these different play styles that you can use to, play competitively with Space Marines. And it just feels awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not going to agree with you as that's my favorite thing this year, but I do have to agree with you that the Space Marines feel like Space Marines again. And it's because a couple weeks back, I played in a tournament with my Blood Ravens, and I haven't played Marines since probably 4th edition, like a long time, other than like Space Wolves, right? But like regular Codex Marines, I hadn't played in a long time. It was great to put the Blood Ravens on the table and they felt like Marines. It was just awesome. It was a lot of fun. And I lost every one of my games, but it was a lot of fun. It was great. So I have to go with you on that one.
Absolutely.
I think for me, the big thing for this year was Custodes. Even though everybody kind of jumped on the bandwagon with the tanks, it gave me a reason to hobby on more of my models. And I did get to play with them for a couple of games before they nerfed them. But I made some lists for using them now with AdMech, for the cheap battalion, getting them CPs. Although I'm kind of sad because for the same points as that battalion of AdMech, you can literally get an Achilles Dreadnought with the spear and you can put him inside the Orion, and he actually goes in the Orion, so you can like power slide up, and the Dreadnought can get out and do the old like Blood Angels trick with the Furiosa, you know. So that's like the OG, but
it is.
Yeah, painting Custodes was pretty fun. Now I'm on some Knights. They're fun because I played them.
It makes sense. You want to be able to. You want armies that don't have like that insane time commitment. You want to build them. You want them to look cool, shiny. Yeah. You want to play them.
Yeah.
Dude, it takes forever sometimes.
Many times when I was working the store, people would ask me like, which faction should I get into? And I was like, well, typically we say like whichever one you think looks coolest, right? But ask yourself like these types of questions. And one of those questions is like, you've never painted miniatures before, or you're not really confident in your painting skills yet. So I would recommend Custodes a lot because it's relatively few models. They're easy to put together. They're really cool looking models, and they're super easy to paint and have come out look really dope with very minimal paint skills, because it's just like you prime them black, you spray them with Retributor Gold, you slap a wash on there and like paint some leather. And it's like, man, that's a good looking model that this like first timer put out on the table. Right. Whereas with a lot of other armies, you have to put way more time into each individual model to have it even look decent, you know? And yeah, Custodes are dope.
And they're just so different, you know, and they've been around as long as 40K, but they never had models. And maybe that's what I like.
That's a great point, Rob. That is a pretty solid milestone, you know, like,
yeah.
And then obviously cool little units. And back to Haspel, was your response just a comment on Wyatt, or was that also?
Yeah, no, I was commenting on Wyatt.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because you just agreed with him, and I was like, oh wait, what was? Did you have a
yeah, and mine's gonna be controversial. So I thought the greatest thing that came out this year for me was contrast paints. Because I have not had a whole lot of time to paint or hobby or anything. And when I got into the contrast, when I got into my mode on the contrast, I could do 5 Blood Ravens in 30 minutes. Like no joke, from beginning to end. And then it would take me about 15 minutes to do all the decals on that squad. And that's how I was able to like field a whole army, you know, 2,000 points. Just every night I would come down, and for a half an hour, I would just lay on the contrast paint. Granted, it is not, they're far from my best looking army. They, you know, but they're painted and they're on the table and they're 3 colors, and I can play a new army. Otherwise it's like I'm stuck playing Necrons, you know, because I'm not going to field my Grey Knights. And I do have a Custodes army, but I don't want to rush them because they are such good looking models. So I paint like 1 Custode, and I'm like, well, I'm never going to play this army because I don't have any time, you know? So I was just like, hey, I want to get back into Space Marines. I have all these Space Marine models that are just sitting here, and contrast paints allowed me to paint them like in a rapid manner.
Makes me happy to hear. I'm glad that you had a lot of success and joy brought to you this year. Because I won't lie, there is, you know, obviously we're airbrushers and everything, but like sometimes I do like to just kick back with an audiobook and pull out a paintbrush and not interact with my airbrush tonight, you know? So and sometimes that's what I want. And I can see that being fun and also effective for you.
Yeah.
I don't think it's actually that controversial. I mean, like, I've shit all over contrast paints since the inception, but one thing I always said was that objectively, anything that gets people to paint their models is a good thing. And so while I still think that, you know, with the right setup, you can paint way better looking models way faster, contrast is the answer for a ton of people to actually paint their models. Yeah. And it's like, you know, I will take a contrast painted army that's fully painted and finished over, you know, like one squad that's done up really well, but then the rest is like, some of them are primed, some of them are base coated, some of them are still gray plastic, you know, like whatever. Or at worst, like primed with like a couple of colors slapped onto a few places to meet the bare minimum requirements for being painted or whatever. Like, I will take a contrast army over those other ones every day of the week and twice on Sunday, even though personally I don't like how it looks. It's not my army though. I'm just glad somebody painted their whole army and they're playing the game. It's objectively awesome.
where I think Contrast really shined for me is I've had a lot of the GW board games that like Assassinorum and Warhammer Quest and stuff like that I would I'm gonna paint those guys someday when I have time, right? And it's like I never have time, so those guys are not even prime. They're still gray, and it doesn't affect the board game. You can still play the board game with them, but with Contrast, I'm like all of a sudden all my Assassinorum stuff is painted, right? All my Warhammer Quest stuff is painted, so that makes a huge difference. It doesn't, it doesn't need to look great because they were unpainted before.
Truth. That's truth. That makes me happy, Mike. I mean, like Wyatt said, like, I don't use them. Like, I put out a video that basically shows how we can get a better, faster result without them. But I do concede that sometimes I don't want to fucking pull up my airbrush. And also agree with Wyatt that I'd rather play against a bunch of contrast painted models that are painted nicely with care than 3-color minimum medalist, So yeah, That's awesome. That's a good answer, man. I didn't expect a hobby answer like that, Whereas like Rob's was, Rob is using his airbrush, getting his golds down, getting his washes down, probably doing a little light dry brushing on his golds. He's doing more of a traditional workup, I bet, but still getting them done quick with his custodies.
They look good.
Yeah, I've seen them. Your models look great, man. I would say this year, since it's only what I care about, my answer is going to be about what I care about. Chaos Knights. I was so happy that we got our own rules.
You did a lot of work to get that book.
I did. That's what I'm saying.
You took one for the team.
I had cardinal knowledge of a bohemian gentleman to make that happen. Chaos Knights. I like big badass robots. I'm not one of those people who hates, armies that have 4 models in it in our super sci-fi game system. I literally don't care. I like there to be lots of different armies. What I was annoyed about was that Imperial Knights were unchecked. Like nobody else had the badass robots that they had. Now Chaos does.
Yep.
And
we all remember the dark times of the Castellan summer.
Yep. And Chaos got badass Knights, and I played Chaos. I made Knights when they next came out, played them like 5 times. I was like, okay, stratagems are kind of a big deal. Put them back on the shelf. And I was like, God damn it. Just let me play them one fucking time with a fucking rule, And I did. I got to play them. And we've had a lot of success with them this year. They're really cool, really powerful, spicy. They feel chaos. They're completely different than the Imperial versions. And that made me happy because that means GW is listening. Listen to the market. And I can't wait for the day that every faction has their own spicy version of that type of model. A big badass robot that walks around the battlefield and beats the shit out of people.
Oh, they will. No, they're going to get their own terrain piece.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to get maybe endless spells, the game's in a good place, and they're about to have their best year yet. So it's going to empower them to.
I think what I'm most excited for 2020 is them getting their new production facility up and running finally, so that we stop having like slow miniatures release cycles and miniature shortages, because I want way more of the 40K range to be updated to like a modern standard than keep playing with models that are like 20 years old.
Mm-hmm. What I'm looking forward to the most in 2020, and you guys are going to boo me, is a computer game. I'm looking forward to Warhammer Underworlds on Steam.
That actually looks really cool.
Yeah, a lot of people have some good things.
I'd probably actually play more Underworlds if that was a thing.
And that's what I'm hoping, is because Underworlds, we had a really good group here at Gamers Haven, and it kind of died off because just folks can't get together. It's the D&D syndrome. You know what I mean? It's like folks can't get together on the game night to have all the Underworlds players show up on one night and play. But I feel like if they do, I hope it's a 1-to-1 adaptation of Underworlds, with maybe a single player campaign or something.
Yeah, give it the Blood Bowl treatment.
Yeah.
That's what Blood Bowl and Blood Bowl 2 have.
I think that game will thrive if they do that. So
yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna have to mention Faith and Fury. That's what I look forward to in 2020. Being able to play some goddamn Night Lord Warp Talons. Play some Alpha Legion Brigades. Play some fucking Emperor's Children's, Noise Marines that can kill a knight. Like, yes. I didn't put that on my rewind because it just happened and I haven't even played it yet. So it's on what I'm looking forward to.
Well, that's fair.
As soon as I roll into LVO, that's the first time. As soon as I get back from break, painting up 10 Warp Talons, a couple of Night Lord characters, slotting them in. See what happens. And they're going to be right alongside my Chaos Knights.
Nice.
We're going to make some stuff happen. That's what I'm looking forward to as a Chaos fanboy.
I think 2020 is going to be good for Workshop as a company.
Oh, overall. Heck yeah. There's all kinds of good stuff coming out. I'm going to get poor. I'm going to get real poor because I'm going to be like, oh, I already have 3 Exorcists. Why do I? Oh, look at that model. I think I'll buy 3 more. It's going to hurt.
Preferred enemy wallet.
Yep.
as Mike likes to say. But I'm comfortable with that being the conclusion of this podcast. If you guys are.
I have one thing before we duck out. I just wanted to shout out these guys called Legacy Fables. They are in Provo. They do kind of like it's kind of like an escape room, but it's an RPG experience. So if you're in Provo, Utah, look them up. They have it's a unique RPG system that's made for basically everyone to jump in. It's a card-based thing. I did a detailed interview with these guys on QFD. So if you want more information, go seek out that podcast or go to their website. It's www.legacyfables.com and go check it out. Give these guys, some help. They're really cool and it's a very neat experience.
Dope.
Tight. Well, you know what to do, Haspel.
Lo there do I see my father. Lo there do I see my mother and sisters and my brothers. Lo there do I see the line of my people, back to the beginning. Lo, they do call to me. They bid me take my place among them, in the halls of Valhalla, where the brave may live forever.